I'm Keano Smith, the creator of K-Stang Productions, and I'm bringing to you, our viewers, NFL football. Obviously, NFL football has been going on for about 5 to 6 weeks now, but we haven't really put it on the channel. We talk about college football on Saturdays and Sundays. We might talk about some games, I guess, like Would You Rather and open-minded, just talk type of questions. But I figured that it would be good to produce and to give to our viewers NFL content, because this is a sports channel along with many other things that we put on the channel, and we just want to have a little bit of fun with it. Obviously, the guys are not here with me. They don't really know too much NFL, but I am an NFL critic, I will say. So therefore, I would like to post a couple of videos. Maybe they'll work, maybe they won't. I would like feedback from that. Y'all can put that down in the comments. But I just want to dissect and analyze some of the NFL games that happen from week to week till February, because February is when college football, NFL football really stops, and basketball is around the corner. Therefore, I would like to make some basketball videos and produce NFL content. Obviously, I'm going to talk about college football content as the video goes on. Sometimes me and the guys can't get together and talk about football. So therefore, I'm gonna just do it, and that's fine. Obviously, they know and they support it. Sometimes they don't watch. Sometimes everybody has stuff going on. It's too hard to record and get all together. But we will keep producing content and posting consistently within this channel. So the first game that we are going to talk about is the Buccaneers versus the Falcons. And the Falcons won 35-30. Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers offense has been on fire this year, and none of us really expected that. Obviously, Baker Mayfield coming from Oklahoma, he was a prodigy. Then he went to Cleveland. He had somewhat of a good stint, but he really didn't want to do too much. He went to the Panthers. The Panthers were a no-go, absolute no-go. And now he's at the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers have a pretty good offense with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, two of the top wide receivers in the NFL right now, I will say, and that can be argued. Put him next to anybody besides like Devontae Adams, maybe Tyreek Hill, but they are two competent, very good wide receivers in my eyes. So let me go over some stats with this game. Obviously, this was week 5, and it's currently like week 7. So I'm just gonna make sure I just go over a couple of games to produce content, like I said, because I want to post consistently on this channel. So let's look here. Baker Mayfield, 19 for 24, 180 yards, and 3 touchdowns. That's pretty good for him. Obviously, we like to see him over the 200-yard mark within the passing game, but I'll take the 3 touchdowns because it shows that he proved he's him, pretty much. Rashid White, 10 carries, 72 yards. And I will say the Buccaneers in the past have been a good passing, good rushing. In this game right here, they pretty much had over 150 yards worth of rushing. So we will take that because, like I say, consistently, if you can't run the ball, you ain't winning no field. You ain't winning no game. Because first of all, you keep passing, the defense is going to know that you pass. So whether you do a play action or you pass the ball, the defense just knows you're going to throw it. And once you throw it too many times, DBs already know. Chris Godwin, 5 for 64. Mike Evans, 5 for 62. Obviously, like I said, these are two top-tier wide receivers, so obviously they didn't break the 100-yard mark, and neither of them actually, Mike Evans did have 2 touchdowns, but Chris Godwin has been on the decline lately. Yeah, I will say that. But, that's just my opinion. If you want to argue that in the comments, you can, but I will say Chris Godwin isn't really making a name for himself anymore. Obviously, he did in the past couple of years, but now he's just there. Kirk Cousins arrived in Atlanta this year for the Minnesota Vikings. And the one thing we can say about Kirk Cousins' career is that it's pretty much average. He's the average QB that you are going to get. You're going to get some wins, you're going to get some losses. Obviously, he's a little bit above average. He's better than people. I'd take Kirk Cousins over Baker Mayfield. I'd probably take Kirk Cousins over Kyler Murray. That's just my opinion. I'm just saying that because he can throw the football. Kyler Murray isn't really scary until he gets with his legs, because he can scramble, and he's been known to prove that. Kirk Cousins went 42 for 58, so it was a high passing game. 4 touchdowns, 509 yards. Tell me, besides like Patrick Mahomes, maybe Aaron Rodgers, maybe Josh Allen from time to time, 500 yards and only 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. Bijan Robinson, 12 for 61. Last year, Bijan Robinson proved himself to be one of the top running backs in the league. So, therefore, we expect more production from him. Can't get that every day or every Sunday from them, but it's all right. Drake London, 12 for 154 yards and a touchdown. I would like to say I am very fond over Drake London, top tier wide receiver. If I'm not mistaken, he came out of Notre Dame. No, he came out of USC, I think. I think he came out of USC. Darnell Mooney, 9, 105, 2 touchdowns. Kyle Pitts, 7 for 88. So they are loaded on offense. I would just like to say that. They are loaded. They are loaded. So the Falcons win 36-30. The Buccaneers have a high passing offense. Kirk Cousins with the Atlanta Falcons have a high passing offense. So pretty much battle of the offenses. Battle of the offenses. I don't know what more you want me to say about that. Overview. Nothing really I would like to talk about. 550 Falcon yards versus 333 Buccaneers yards in total. Falcons got 28 first downs. Buccaneers got 21 first downs. Third down efficiency. It's a very big common thing in the NFL to talk about third down to see if you can get off the field with your defense, or if you can stay on the field with your offense. And I would like to say third downs do matter unless you're like a high scoring offense and you can get there in like between the first and the second down. I would just like to say that total plays 81 for the Falcons versus 51 for the Buccaneers, and then time of possession 33 minutes basically for the Falcons versus 27 minutes for the Buccaneers. And time of possession will kill you. We rarely see a team lose having a higher time of possession, but that's it. So moving on to the next game. The Vikings and the Jets did play. The Vikings end up winning 23-17, and I would like to say something about these two teams. The Vikings have decided to be a lot better in the previous years, but like I said, with Kirk Cousins, and Sam Darnold has taken them to new heights, and I'm not talking about apartments. It's crazy. Honestly, Sam Darnold hasn't looked any better, whether it was with the Panthers, the 49ers, or whatever other team that he could have possibly been on. I think he was with the Jets as well at one point. Speaking of the Jets lost. Having Aaron Rodgers, the top quarterback ever in history, and you're telling me what's their record? 2-3. The Jets are 2-3. Obviously, the Jets played a game like last night, so probably at the time they were probably like 1-3. Maybe if I'm not mistaken, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But Aaron Rodgers, and then you got I think his name's Garrett Wilson. Got Garrett Wilson. They have a great offense. I would just like to say that. But when you just can't do nothing. I saw a stat the other day saying that the Green Bay Packers players that were in previous years are pretty much now on the Jets. So really, because Devontae Adams is with them now, so if you really want to say they want to be mediocre, they could have just stayed on the Green Bay Packers. Just me. That's what I'm saying. So let's go through some stats versus the Vikings versus the Jets. Aaron Rodgers went 29 for 54, 244 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Please tell me what team is winning if a quarterback throws 3 interceptions. Because if you turn the ball over, that just gives the Vikings more chance to score the ball. And when you score, you win. That's how you win. 3 interceptions is ridiculous. Coming from Aaron Rodgers. I would just like to say that. Breece Hall, 9 for 23. Braylon Allen, 5 for 13. No run game whatsoever. What is wrong with this O-line? First of all, the coaching, the play calling. I think they said, Nate Hackett? Absolutely horrendous. You cannot run the ball. Not run the ball at all. And Breece Hall is actually a good running back. 9 carries for 23 yards is outrageous. Outrageous. I would never. If I was a Jets fan, I'd be up in flames. Garrett Wilson is good. Come from Ohio State. Ohio State is a wide receiver university. Everybody knows that, especially with Ryan Day, Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Jason Smith, Njigba, and many more. Marvin Harrison Jr. Don't argue with me. Garrett Wilson, 13 receptions, 101 yards, and a touchdown. And pretty much, he was the best receiver for the day. Because the next receiver that had the highest receptions and yards was Tyler Conklin, 6 for 55. Nobody. Absolute nobody. Don't tell. And then Alan Lazard was on the Green Bay Packers a couple of years ago as well with Aaron Rodgers. Wasn't that good. Mike Williams, a guy from Clemson, probably one of the top wide receivers that came out of Clemson. He was with the Chargers previously and had a wonderful stint with the Chargers. Trash with the Jets. I will say that. Trash with the Jets. I don't know if it's because of injury. Obviously, he's been injured numerous times, whether it's through college, NFL. He does not look the same, especially last night, but we will get into that in other videos. Mike Williams had 2 receptions for 25 yards. Trash. And he's a pretty good wide receiver, number 2 wide receiver. He'll never be a number 1 wide receiver. And I'm saying that as a Clemson fan, a fan of Mike Williams. Unless he can stay healthy and he can have good production on the field, I do not see him being a number 1 wide receiver. I think the injuries have plagued him throughout his career, and obviously that's not his fault. He does what he can, and he recovers when he can. His body, he can't control what heals right on his body. I will say that. So let me stop saying that these players are trash, but some of them are just purely trash. Like Tyler Conklin, who's heard of? Then moving on to the Vikings, Sam Darnold, 14 for 31. So obviously he didn't have really a good game. He's barely above 50%, 179 yards. 1 interception. No touchdowns. So please tell me where on earth they got these points from. $11 points on field goals. 1 rushing touchdown. Probably. Okay, so Sam Darnold really didn't play good this game. I will say that. Absolute trash, if you would ask me. It wasn't a good game from him. Tyler Chan, the Vikings didn't have a good running game either. I will say that. Man, this game was trash. The only good person on this game was Justin Jefferson. 6 for 92. That was the best player within this game. So they barely scraped away. I mean, if you want to say the Vikings are a good team, they're still 5-0 at this point in time. But I think it's a fluke. Ain't no way you're telling me Sam Darnold is playing better now than the past couple of years that he's been in the NFL. Then some big organization, probably like the Raiders or something, are going to give him a big contract, and then he stinks it up on the field. I'm sorry. I play conservative. I don't think he's that good. But like I said, you can prove me wrong. It's still early in the season with a lot of ball left to go, and I will say that. Let's see some team stats on them. 17 first downs for both teams. I like to say third down conversions makes me want to throw up. 4 for 13 for the Vikings, 5 for 17 for the Jets. Nasty work. Looks like the defense got after it too. The Vikings had 4 sacks, and the Jets had 3. Quentin Williams is also one of my favorite defensive players on the Jets. I would like to say that as well. And time of possession was pretty much the same, around 30 minutes. So it was a pretty much even game. It was just basically field goals that pretty much won it. I would like to say that. So, moving on to the next game. This really isn't a game to talk about, but I might as well just talk about it. Benching Bryce Young and putting Andy Dalton in was probably a better move for the organization, but he was a number 1 draft pick, and you're paying him millions of dollars to play, and you put him on the bench. That's like me. You know what? I'm not even going to go there. 36-10. The Bears do win it right now. The Bears are sitting 3-2 versus the Panthers 1-4. We expect the Bears to beat the Panthers, especially within the state that Carolina is in right now. I would like to say I'm a Carolina Panthers fan, but I promise you I would never tell you that to your face because they are trash. They stink. Stinkier than a skunk farting on a dog. I would like to say that. Andy Dalton went 18 for 28, 136 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. And that's who they put in. You know what you're going to get from Andy Dalton. So you can't even be mad at the stats. Chuba Hubbard, I like Chuba Hubbard. He's probably the best offensive player on the Panthers. I will say that. And I told somebody to put him on their fantasy. Looks like he's doing pretty well. 13 carries for 97 yards and 1 touchdown. 7.5 yards per game. I will take it. I will take it. And really, they don't really have any good wide receivers. I mean, they have Adam Thielen and Xavier Legette, who was a draft pick this past draft. But Adam Thielen is not what he used to be, and you know what you're going to get out of him. He's old. He is getting older. So therefore, he's not going to be able to move the same. He probably ain't going to catch the same. And he for sure ain't going to have no big runs after catches. Because as soon as somebody puts a lick on him, it's over. Absolute over. So when you put a number one pick within the offense that really doesn't have any weapons besides Chuba Hubbard and maybe a degrading Adam Thielen, you really can't expect too much. Because name one person on the Carolina Panthers, name one, that you would say is top 10 in their position. Top 10 in their position. Quarterbacks and all. Linemen and all. I'll wait. You trade all your pieces away. I mean, Brian Burns is probably the best player in the Carolina Panthers. You trade him away to the Giants. So what more do you have? You have no draft compensation. I mean, you have no players to trade. So how on earth are you going to get better? Trash. Absolute trash. I tell you no lie. I lie. Whew, that's terrible. Whew. I lie for you before I lie to you. Nasty work. But Caleb Williams, everybody has these big assumptions on Caleb Williams. Oh, he's this. Man, he's a crybaby because he was crying on his mom. Oh, man, he paints his fingernails. If the guy can ball, the guy can ball. Heisman winner, number one pick in the draft. I expect the Bears to be really good. 3-2 was a lot better than 1-4. I will say that. So Caleb Williams went 20 for 29, 304 yards and 2 touchdowns. I like those numbers for him. Whether it's empty calorie or not, because they won 36-10. I don't care. As long as he gets experience within the offense, as long as he has weapons beside him, DJ Moore, another person from Carolina, Keenan Allen, a guy from the Chargers. Who else am I missing? DeAndre Swift. He was with the Lions last year. DeAndre Swift went 21 for 73 and a touchdown. I'll take that. DeAndre Swift is one of the best running backs in the NFL right now. You hear from him a lot, and you see his production on the field, so I will take him over a lot of running backs. DJ Moore had 5 for 105 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's what I'm talking about. That's what you're going to get from him. That's what you're going to get from a high-performing wide receiver. Cole Kmet, 3 for 57. DeAndre Swift was 5 for 40. And then Keenan Allen was 3 for 33. It's okay. I expect him. He's also getting up there in age. Therefore, you can't expect these guys to do the same thing they once did when they were younger. But he's still one of the best route runners in the NFL besides Devontae Adams. And I will put my foot on it. So let's see some team stats because I would just like to see. First downs for the Bears, 24 to Carolina's 14. Third down efficiency was terrible. 4 for 11 for the Bears. 3 for 12. 3 for 12. When the defense can get off the field, that's a happy day for the coaches, especially the defensive coordinator. Good God, have mercy. Time of possession, 33 to the Panthers, 26. Like I said, I have never in my life seen a game where a team has a higher time of possession and they lose the ball game. The Bears win it 36-10. You really can't expect too much more from the Panthers. Obviously, I would like to see them get a little bit better, but when you can't perform on the field right, I don't know what you would. They're probably gonna get the number one pick next year. If I'm not too sure on that information, but I like to see how they upgrade. Xavier Legette came from South Carolina, and obviously, I think he was a good draft pick. Chuba Hubbard is still on that team. I think they just need a quarterback, but who on earth is going to go to Carolina within these times? Obviously, the Bears have gotten a lot better, especially with their wide receivers and Caleb Williams, and he actually looks pretty promising. I will say that the first couple of games were kind of rocky, but he is a rookie. So let's move on to the next game. The Dolphins. The Dolphins played the Patriots 15-10. The Dolphins won 15-10. And obviously, Jacoby Brissett is a starting quarterback for the Patriots, and you don't expect too much from him either, especially being a backup. He's been in the league for many, many years. He's won out starting jobs for teams that don't matter. For teams that don't matter. When you have Jacoby Brissett in an offense, you know you're on your last leg. You know you're on your spare tire. You know you've hit pothole after pothole, and your alignment is wonky. I mean, and then all prayers go up to Tua Tagovailoa. And I've said this to people. You probably need to retire. It might be in your best interest to retire. But you just signed $1 million contract. Multiple $1 million contract. And me personally, honestly, I don't know what I would do in this situation because I haven't been put in that position. But I will say this. You have to get your money one way or another. I think he's got enough money at this point in his career to retire because that type of money is life-changing. But, man, putting yourself on the line like this, I just don't think I would be able to. He's had multiple concussions, and I can't say too much more. Tyler Huntley, 18 for 31, 194 yards, and 1 touchdown. So he did a little bit better within this game. I will say that. Jalen Wright, 13 for 86. Raheem Mostert, 19 for 80. So they have a great rushing attack. I would like to say the Dolphins have probably the best weaponry within the offense. Within any offense in the NFL. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Odell Beckham Jr. Then you got running backs like Raheem Mostert, Jalen Wright. If I'm not mistaken, whatever his name is. I'm sorry if I know I've butchered that. But they are good weaponry for an offense. I'm sure if you put Bryce Young on that team, he'd do a lot better. Put Jacoby Brissett, hopefully he would do a lot better. Tyreek Hill, 5 for 69. And I will say, after he left the Kansas City Chiefs, he hasn't had the same production. I will say that he's only been with the Jets for a couple of years, but I will say he hasn't had the same production. He thinks Tua is better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes. Absolutely abysmal. I have never seen or heard such blasphemy in my life. Let's see here. Jacoby Brissett, 18 for 34, 160 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Nothing more to say about that. Stevenson, I've heard about him, 12 carries for 89 yards and 1 touchdown. He's all right as well. And obviously, they really don't have any wide receivers, big-name wide receivers. I mean, they have some type of production, but not enough production to get you more than 10 points. Therefore, this is why the Patriots lost. Let's go into some team stats right here. 15 versus 24 first downs for the Dolphins. Third down efficiency, terrible. I'm not even going to put that on here because it's just nasty work. Time of possession, the Dolphins had 34 versus the Patriots with 25, actually. So, therefore, after Bill Belichick, after Tom Brady, the Patriots are pretty much nobodies at this point. 1-4 for the Patriots, and the Dolphins are 2-3. Please tell me which one would have a better year. I wouldn't be able to tell you. I would not be able to tell you. Moving on to the next. The Jaguars played the Colts in Week 5, 37-34. And what a game, I would like to say. This was very high-scoring offense. Trevor Lawrence with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Anthony Richardson times Joe Flacco with the Indianapolis Colts. The Indianapolis Colts right now are 2-3 versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, which I have not seen them play that much this year, but they are 1-4 with Trevor Lawrence being the number 1 pick in the draft a couple of years ago. You expected him to have a great stint within the NFL, but his first couple of years haven't been that well. Joe Flacco for the Indianapolis Colts, 33-44, 359 yards and 3 touchdowns. Obviously, this old man has still got it. The windows are down. The amps are bumping. I mean, he's just rocking. Obviously, they lost the game, but if you can get a solid quarterback position spot with somebody that can play the position well, you'd be in good shape. They really didn't have a run game. Like I said, you don't really see too many teams winning if they don't have a run game or they're missing some part of their offense. They become more one-dimensional, and you can tell that they were very one-dimensional within this game with the high attempts in passing. Alec Pierce, 3 for 134 yards and a touchdown. Josh Downs, 9 for 69. Adonai Mitchell, 4 for 38. He came out of Texas, or if he transferred before that, I don't remember. But they did have a high passing game, I guess you would say, that you really wouldn't see too much from the Colts, especially with Jonathan Taylor, and he's nasty. Trevor Lawrence, 28 for 34, 371 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. By no means is he playing great this year, but he did play good within this game. 371 yards would get it done really fast, unless you're playing somebody like Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, who chucks it up to God knows who. And then they had a pretty good game running. I'd like to say that. Obviously, Travis Etienne was supposed to be a good running back coming in, and some people say that he still is right now. I don't think his production warrants him being one of the best running backs in the league at this point. Tank Bigsby, 13 for 101 yards and 2 touchdowns. You can tell that he got pretty much the load of it. Obviously, they didn't really rush that much. Probably all, or within all, players rushing, they probably did like 20, 25 attempts. I don't have the math in front of me right now, but I'm just showing you what the stats are. Brian Thomas Jr., 5 for 122 yards and a touchdown. Christian Kirk, 4 for 88. Therefore, great passing. I would like to say that. Great passing. You got a lot of receiver reps in. You got a lot of protection from your receivers. Christian Kirk has been known to be a decent number 2, number 3 wide receiver in the NFL. I don't know who this Brian Thomas Jr. guy is, but man, did he put on a clinic. So therefore, I'm going to look up some information about him and follow him throughout the year. So 37-34, the Indianapolis Colts, I will say that. Team stats. Let's see, team stats. The Jaguars had 20 first downs to 25 for the Colts. Third down efficiency, 30% for the Jaguars versus 50% for the Indianapolis Colts. Time of possession was relatively around the exact same time. The Jacksonville Jaguars, 28 minutes, and the Colts with 31 minutes. So it'll be good to see how these teams unfold within the year. I think Joe Flacco's still making a name for himself. He got the Super Bowl. He played with the Baltimore Ravens, and we all know how that went. So it's good to see Joe Flacco still with a team. I mean, he was at the Browns last year, and he did pretty good as well. They made it to the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. So he will give you good production from the quarterback position. Moving on. The Bills versus the Texans. And I would like to say the Texans have been a good team for me because I've liked them since Deshaun Watson. Well, Deshaun Watson is no longer with them, but hopefully we'll get into Deshaun Watson unless they had a bye week or something, which I'm pretty sure they might have week 5. They had a bye week 5. The Lord have mercy. Okay, Texans versus the Bills, 23-20. The Texans win. C.J. Stroud, another quarterback from the Ohio State University, put on a clinic and is one of the top QBs, probably top 5, top 7 QBs in the NFL right now. Honestly, I think I would take C.J. Stroud over Josh Allen any day, but that's my personal opinion. If you want to argue with me about it, then please go ahead. But 9 for 30 from your number 1 quarterback, starting quarterback, star quarterback is, well, nasty work. Nasty work. Who on earth? Who gave Josh Allen his job? Who? 9 for 30, 131 yards and a touchdown. I would love to watch this game back and see what exactly happened. 9 for 30 is crazy work. That's under 50. That's under 40%. Jesus have mercy. James Cook, 20 carries for 82 and a touchdown. Brother of Dalvin Cook. So they're definitely related. But James Cook, if I'm not mistaken, James Cook went to Georgia, didn't he not? Somebody look that up and tell me. I think he did go to Georgia. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he went somewhere else. But James Cook had Pretty good rushing. Besides that, Josh Allen had 4 for 54. He's a great runner. I will say that. I would say he probably is more scary running than passing, but that's just me. Like I said, these videos are nothing but opinion. Nothing but opinion. Please don't attack me. Keano Coleman, probably a top prospect in wide receivery. You know, not wide receivery. 1 reception for 49 yards and a touchdown. So that means his only reception was a touchdown. Crazy work. I can see why the Bills lost this game, honestly. I can see it. Obviously, you have to go through the eye test. You have to actually watch the game. But based off the stats, I like to watch the games to see more than because the stats don't really tell you everything. Based off of what you watch will tell you everything that you need to know about a team. But let's move on to the Texans. C.J. Stroud, 28 for 38, 331 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. That'll get the job done any day. Cam Akers, probably one of their top winning running backs, 9 for 42 and a touchdown. I will say, Joe Mixon is also on this team, but they really don't have much of a running game at this point. The Texans are 4-1. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. By no means. The Bills are 3-2. But I would like to see Joe Mixon get back in here. Do a little bit of something. I like Joe Mixon. He came from the Bengals and he had a great stint with the Bengals. He had a great career with the Bengals. But, new team, new identity. So let's see what he does. Stephon Diggs, 6 receptions for 82 yards. Nico Collins, 2 for 78. Tank Dell, 4 for 38. Another great wide receiver core, especially with C.J. Stroud and his young career at this point. Hopefully they all stay together because I see them winning a Super Bowl or winning a lot of playoff games. So let's just see what happens with them. Team stats. Let's see. 18 first downs for the Texans, 16 for the Bills. Third down efficiency, 50% for the Texans, 3 for 14 for the Bills. Time of possession, 33 minutes for the Texans, 26 for the Bills. So all in all, I would say it's a pretty good game. Terrible for Josh Allen. 9 for 13, I will not get over. But, it was week 5, 2 weeks ago. Therefore, we're going to keep it in the past. We're not going to bring it up too much. But let's just try to do a little bit more on that Josh Allen. By the way, I would like to also say it ain't even Josh Allen's fault entirely because you have wide receivers to catch the ball. So they need to do a lot better too. 1 reception for Keenan Allen, terrible. He's supposed to be, now Amari Cooper is with the Bills, but he's supposed to be their top wide receiver, or at least 1 to 2. So let's see if they can do a little bit better with that. The Ravens versus the Cincinnati Bengals, 41-38. And the Ravens have gotten a lot better, especially with Derrick Henry, King Henry, who will plow you over, build you a new home while sipping a lemonade. Okay, Lamar Jackson, 26 for 42, 348 yards, and 4 touchdowns. At this point in his career, his arm might be a little bit better than his running game. Let me stop. Let me rewind. It's almost comparable to his run game. 348 yards from Lamar Jackson and 4 touchdowns. Nasty work. Okay. Derrick Henry, 15 for 92 and a touchdown. And I heard, if you watch Nightcap, you know about Shannon Sharp and Chad Ochocinco. Shannon Sharp said if you put Derrick Henry in the eye, he'd be a lot better. He'd have a lot more production. And boy, was he right. And I will give him props for saying that. Obviously, he studied football from a young age. He's got probably like 50 years of experience with football. So he knows football left, right, up, down, diagonal, whatever you want to say. Even Lamar Jackson had 12 for 55 yards. But Zay Flowers, their top wide receiver, 7 for 111 yards. Rashid Bateman, another guy that I like, 4 for 58 and a touchdown. And Isaiah Likely, another wide receiver that I like, for the Ravens. He's pretty good. You better watch him on Sundays because he's going to be one of the top wide receivers in the NFL. Book it right now. That's what I'm talking about. Isaiah Likely had 2 touchdowns as well. But Joe Burrow and his Bengals cannot keep up because they are 1-4. I mean, having Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, and T. Higgins on the same team is criminal enough. but being 1-4 deserves jail time. 25 to life. 25 to life. Not 3 and 2. Let's go over to the Bengals side. Joe Burrow, 30 for 39, 392 yards, 5 touchdowns, and an interception. Go down in the comment. Please tell me who you would like better, Joe Burrow or Lamar Jackson, to start your NFL franchise. I wouldn't be able to tell you right now because I like the dynamics of Lamar Jackson, but I like the QB spot. I like the QB composure from Joe Burrow. I like that. Obviously, Joe Burrow is a lot more plagued with injuries. Knock on wood for Lamar Jackson. Hopefully, he doesn't get injured. But they're two great quarterbacks. But I think I'd put Lamar Jackson ahead of Joe Burrow any day to start a franchise. Any day, without a doubt. They really didn't have a running game. Actually, they didn't have a running game at all. At all. Trash. 100 yards, under 100 yards. Trashing running game. Trashing the running game. But Jamar Chase, 10 receptions for 193 yards, 2 touchdowns. Somebody has to tell Jamar Chase that he needs 7 more yards. Well, they probably didn't really care at this point because this went into overtime. But he had almost 200 yards of wide receivery. That's nasty work. T. Higgins, 9 for 83, 2 touchdowns. So basically, T. Higgins and Jamar Chase put the offense on their back and carried them to 38 points. That's nasty work because you have no production from nobody else besides Joe Burrow, and obviously he's the quarterback. So let's just see if the Bengals can get back on the horse or get back on the bull and keep riding, because at this point they're 1-4. They got they probably got 12 more games to play, so they can turn it around. But I'm telling you right now, you're not winning 12 games in a row. You're not winning. Nobody. Patrick Mahomes, Joe Flacco, Cam Newton, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. You're not winning 12 games in a row in no NFL season. You're not doing that. Absolutely not. Team stats: first downs 23 versus the Ravens, 30 first downs. Third down efficiency for both teams was pretty solid, 10 to 15, 8 and 14 for the Bengals. And then time of possession is pretty much around the same. So basically, the Ravens just outcoached and outplayed the Bengals. The Bengals did not do bad by no means, especially, actually, took that back. Defense was terrible because there's no way you should be letting another team score over 25, 30 points. Obviously, this isn't like 2000 Ravens, but still, there's no way on God's green earth you should be scoring this high. But props to the Ravens. They're doing pretty good this year. They're still 3-2. I see them being one of the top teams in the AFC by the end of the year. Book it, check it. That's what I'm talking about. Let's move on. I will say the Broncos beat the Raiders, but that's really nothing. 34-18. Bo Nix with the Broncos is nasty work. Sean Payton's over there, so he has experience as a coach. And then you have Antonio Pierce for the Las Vegas Raiders, and they just traded Devontae Adams. Don't ask me why. Gardner Minshew is their starting quarterback. Max Crosby is their probably top defensive player. Let's see if they can trade him to get compensation, because at this point they need better quarterback play than defensive play. Just saying. The Cardinals beat the San Francisco 49ers. At this point in time, the San Francisco 49ers are 2-3. The Arizona Cardinals are 2-3. But who really cares about the Cardinals? Because the only thing we're talking about right now with the Cardinals is Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison. Came from out of Ohio State. Let's see. Kyler Murray, 19 for 30, 195 yards, 1 touchdown, and an interception. James Conner, obviously we know he's came from the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was a pretty good running back there, and he's a decent running back here. 19 for 86, no touchdowns. Marvin Harrison had a terrible game, 2 receptions for 36 yards. Obviously, if he's not targeted like that, or if he doesn't catch the ball, it is his fault. But if he really isn't targeted like that, then I don't know what you want me to say. The Cardinals did win 24-23, and I kid you not, a win is a win. But let's be better. Let's be a little bit better and keep away from these high-scoring. Actually, scratch that. Let's keep away from these close-scoring games. Brock Purdy, 19 for 35, 244 yards and a touchdown, 2 interceptions. 2 interceptions will not do it, but I would like to say Brock Purdy is a game. He's a game manager. He manages what happens. He ain't gonna play make like that. He might hit you with a move right here or a hezzy right there. But for the most part, he ain't really too much running out of the pocket. He's trying to launch the ball or he's handing the ball off. Not that hard. Jordan Mason, one of the top running backs that have came out of this year. Jordan Mason has filled in for Christian McCaffrey. Probably not more on the wide receiver side, but on the running side, he had 14 carries for 89 yards. And I would take that, especially with Christian McCaffrey being out. Brock Purdy actually had 4 for 33 yards. I will say that. Brandon Ayuk, 8 receptions for 147 yards. He got a big contract. We expect him to have a good year. So therefore, stop throwing tantrums. Don't be a baby. Go out there and produce. Give me some numbers to talk about. And we'll all have a good day. Fred Warner, 7 tackles. I just like to highlight that. I just saw that. So let's see. And he's a game record, hey. Let's see some team stats. Really, the total yards in comparison were the exact same. 388, 358. The running game was around the same as well. First downs, 22 for the San Francisco 49ers, 19 for the Cardinals. Time of possession, 32 for the San Francisco 49ers and 27 for the Arizona Cardinals. One time I see a game that the time of possession does matter. Probably because they ran a little bit more, because they probably did. Deebo Samuel's a runner. Jordan Mason is a runner. The San Francisco 49ers has a very diverse offense. I would like to say that. Whether it's running, passing, play action. Kyle Shanahan's a great coach. I would like to say that. They've been to the Super Bowl multiple times in the past. They've been to the Super Bowl twice in the past couple of years. Therefore, they are a decent team. But let's just see if they can get over that hump. Obviously, I would like to see the Chiefs win another one, because right now Patrick Mahomes is at 3. Tom Brady's at 4. I think Patrick Mahomes is probably one of the most athletic quarterbacks to ever play the game of football. Might be, in the end of his career, the best quarterback to play his position. But let's just see how that goes. Let's see. The New York Giants play the Seahawks. Geno Smith, I'm sorry. DK Metcalf, I'm sorry. The Giants, you don't want this type of record. You don't want this type of loss on your record, I will say. The Giants won 29-20. I'm not going to go into much of that, because there really ain't no point. I mean, what do we have to say? DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and really, there ain't really too much more you want to say about them. Geno Smith is probably one of the best backups that has been produced by the NFL. But right now, he's promising. Let's just see what their record is. The New York Giants are 2-3. The Seattle Seahawks are 3-2. Honestly, I'd take that from them. I mean, the Seahawks they aren't a nobody, but by no means are they the best team in the NFL. I will say that too. The Packers played the Rams. Packers won. Jordan Love is a special player to watch. I will say that. Make sure you watch him whenever. 24-19. Matthew Stafford and all them boys pretty much hurt, especially after Aaron Donald left. The team has been in the decline. They won Super Bowl. That's pretty much what they needed to do, especially with Aaron Donald retiring. That was the last thing to signify his stint, his career, honestly, as being one of the best defensive players to ever play the game of football. So, 24-19. Honestly, I expect that. The Packers are actually a pretty decent team. I will say that. I like what they're doing, especially with that old boy Jordan Love. I mean, he got hurt week 1 against the Eagles in, what was it, Puerto Rico? Brazil, I think? Actually, it was Brazil. But he's doing what he can. Man, I'm so mad about this. The Cowboys played the Steelers. They won 20-17 on the last play. I think it was the last play of the game, or close to. There's like 15 seconds left. This game was also weather delayed. Justin Fields is still not developed. I will say that he doesn't have many weapons on his side, but Justin Fields doesn't look as developed as I want him to be. Obviously, when he came at Ohio State, he was playing lights out. Absolute lights out. But they both still have a winning record. The Cowboys are 3-2. The Steelers are 3-2. So with Russell Wilson coming back in week 7, let's just see what more they can do. Hopefully, I like Russell Wilson, so hopefully he gets a win for them, their first win. Not their first win, but his first win, technically. So let's just see what they do. I don't like the Cowboys, especially because of Jerry Jones. I don't know him personally. I just think he's just a little bit too involved with the organization. Obviously, he owns it, but he doesn't make moves like he needs to. I will say that. Bringing back Ezekiel Elliott, what on God's green earth made you think that was a good idea? But if he wants to retire a Cowboy, I understand that. But he ain't giving the offense nothing. He really ain't giving the offense nothing. But let's see one more game, and we'll get out of here. The Saints played Chiefs, and the Chiefs absolutely devoured them. Derek Carr got hurt in this game, if I'm not mistaken. Player stats: Derek Carr went 18 for 28, 165 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Alvin Kamara had 11 for 26. Nasty work, especially for him. And Chris Olave had 210, one of their top receivers. Rashid Shaheed, 4 for 86 and a touchdown, their best receiver for the day. Patrick Mahomes, 26 for 39, 331 yards, no touchdowns. Kareem Hunt is a running back that has emerged from free agency that has done a number for them, 27 for 102 yards and a touchdown. Juju also had a great game, 7 for 130 yards. Travis Kelce has been emerging over the past couple of games, 9 receptions for 70 yards. So that's going to wrap up the NFL Week 5 analysis. Tell me what I need to do better. Tell me if I need to talk about something a little bit more. But all in all, these are great games. It's still really early in the season, so I don't expect every team to be really, really good off the bat. But as the time goes on, more players get injured, so therefore you don't know what your real capabilities are. But see you in the next video.